Hello, I'm Sheldon Kunkel. I'm a developer at VSI Aerospace working on DaVinci Flight, and I'm going to walk through some of the introductory and tutorial information required to get started with DaVinci Flight. Once you've run the installer, a DaVinci Flight configuration window will come up, which allows you to set your screen resolution and desired graphics quality. We recommend that you select the highest screen resolution available. And in terms of graphics quality, if you are using a discrete graphics card, you shouldn't have any trouble playing on Fantastic or one of the higher quality settings. But if you're using an older computer or one with an integrated graphics chip, you might want to try one of the lower quality settings in order to get playable frame rates. When you get into the game, you come into a Start menu. If you don't have a joystick to use in the flight simulator, be sure to go to the Settings tab and toggle joystick control off in order to enable flight control with the keyboard. We currently don't have a way of saving this information, nor is there a way to change it when you get into the game, so you'll have to remember to do this every time you launch the game. Once you've got the keyboard control configured correctly, go up to the Local Game tab and enter the game. When you enter the game, you'll find yourself in the elevator heading up to the hangar bay. If you move your mouse, you'll notice that the camera rotates around and you can change where you're looking. You can use the W, A, S, and D keys to walk around. If you played other first-person games, this should be pretty natural. If not, just remember that the W key always moves you forward, and forward is wherever your camera is pointing. So you should be able to go pretty much wherever you want simply by holding the W key to walk forward and sliding your mouse left and right to turn. If you hit the Escape key, the main menu pops up. From here you can exit the game and access some other features that aren't fully fleshed out yet. The most useful feature in the Escape menu is the set of quick port locations in the Map tab. We don't have the map working yet, but you can at least port yourself around to various points of interest within the hangar bay to save on walking time. I'll touch on these more later. When you walk out of the elevator, you'll find the mission room. Since we're not packaging any missions with the game at this point, you don't really need the mission room, but it will become useful later on. To the right of the mission room, down this hallway, is the store. In there, you'll find various parts and upgrades that you can purchase to use on your gliders. If we go back to the mission room and turn to the right, we can walk down another hallway toward the main hangar bay. The first thing you'll find in the hangar bay is the library. When you walk up to the library kiosk, an interface to select books comes up. You notice that your mouse cursor is back, and moving the mouse no longer changes where your camera is looking. You can select a book and hit Load Selection to start reading. When you're done, hit Exit and you'll come back to the hangar bay. When we walk over to the first design station, there are three areas of interest. First, immediately to your left, is the Geometry Layout tool. Just like the library, you can use your mouse cursor to select vehicle prototypes and modify them, or you can choose to create new ones from scratch. We'll have another video on how to use this tool coming out shortly. Next, to the right when you're facing the Geometry Layout tool, is the System UI. You can enter it by pressing the E key when the prompt comes up. When the system loads, you can hit the Load button in the bottom right corner and select the default vehicle system. When it loads, you'll see a big flowchart in the main work area. We'll cover what all of this does in a later video. For now, you can minimize the work pane in the upper right and see your vehicle. Use the scroll wheel to zoom in, left-click to drag the vehicle model, and right-click to rotate the camera view. On the right of the screen, you can select the Inputs tab. This pane has a lot of sliders that you can use to manipulate your vehicle. When you're satisfied with the modifications to your vehicle, hit Escape and press Save. This saves the System UI file. You can enter whatever you want in here. Saving the System UI file doesn't change the model used in the flight simulator, however. In order to do that, hit Escape and press the Create Prototype button. Again, you can name it whatever you want. This creates a new vehicle prototype for the flight sim to use and sets that as your active vehicle. Now you can feel free to exit the System UI by either selecting Exit in the Escape menu or pressing the Exit button in the bottom right corner. This takes you back to the hangar bay. Once back in the hangar bay, turn around and walk to the other side of the design station. You can enter the flight simulator here with the E key when the prompt comes up. The flight simulator takes a few seconds to load, then you can press the Launch button and begin flying. If you're not using a joystick and you toggle the joystick button in the Start menu to off, you can fly your gliders with the keyboard. W and S control the elevator, A and D control your ailerons, and Q and E control the rudder. But if you do have a joystick and you did not turn off the joystick selection in the Start Settings menu, you should be able to control your control surfaces with the stick. Moving it left and right should move your ailerons, forward and back should control the elevator, and twisting the stick, if you have a 3-axis stick, should control the rudder. If your joystick isn't set up like this by default, you can remap your inputs in the configuration window before the game loads. We'll cover that in a later video. If your vehicle has rocket boosters, which the default vehicle does, you can toggle them on and off with the F key. You can see the fuel remaining using the gauges to the right. In the center of the screen, we have an attitude display. To the left is your airspeed indicator, and to the right is your altitude. Below the attitude display, you can see readouts for the state of your control surfaces. In the lower right, you can switch between the default vehicle view with attitude display or a chase camera that shows your vehicle. If you want to pause or end the simulation, hit the P key. We're going to change this pause menu in the future and probably use the escape key to make it more like the escape menu in the other scenes, so if you're watching this in the future and P doesn't work, try escape. From within the pause menu, you can hit the options button to increase or decrease the maximum deflection of your control surfaces. This way you can change the sensitivity for different vehicles. You can end your flight by hitting the Return to Lab button. Upon ending the flight simulation from the pause menu, landing your aircraft successfully on a runway, or crashing it, you'll be brought to the debriefing screen and given a score report. Press the Return to Lab button to go back to the hangar bay. At this point, you can try your hands at the flight simulator again, return to the System UI to modify your vehicle, or build a new vehicle in the Geometry Layout tool.